សួស្តីនិស្សិតទាំងអស់គ្នាបាទថ្ងៃនេះយើងបន្តបាទនៅក្នុង chapter ទី4គឺ ASEAN Economic Community ASEAN Economic Community បាទសហគមន៍សេដ្ឋកិច្ចបាទអាស៊ានណាបាទអញ្ចឹងយើងចាប់ផ្ដើមបាទចេញពីចំណុចនេះមួយគឺបាទ slide នេះគឺ share of capital goods បាទ share of capital goods among the ASEAN economy, each capital goods and process input are combined. The Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand are the most linked on the export side with international production network related to their total export, while Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia and the most linked on the import side to the such network related to their total import. To provide a more detailed perspective on dependence on trade with China, among the ASEAN economy, the top combined import share of capital goods and processed input from China in 2016 were 31.7% of total import for Cambodia, 22.6% for Myanmar, 17.9% for Vietnam, 15.1% for Indonesia, 14.3% for Thailand, and 10.3% for Malaysia. The top equivalent figure on the export side were only 5.5% for Singapore and 4.8% for Malaysia. បាទយើងចូលទៅ slide បាទបន្តមួយទៀតគឺ Trade Agreement and Policy. An influential paper by Richard Baldwin 2008 observed that East Asia had been remarkably successful at integrating production processes across national boundaries. Nevertheless, Baldwin accused that Factory Asia was fragile because it depended critically on the openness of the regional trading system. Baldwin noted that, unlike the most favored nation tariff rate administered by the WTO, however, the recent history for Indonesian trade policy does not bear out this particular concern. Under pressure from various domestic interests in 2010, because of the increase in import due to the ASEAN-China free trade area, for example, Indonesia stood by its tariff commitment indifferent to the ASEAN alliance. បាទយើងចូល slide បន្តទៀតគឺ Trade Agreement and Policy បាទដដែលបាទ Recognition of the benefit of more complete economic integration and contributed to the push for the ASEAN Economic Community (AEC). The accumulating of agreement and initiatives within ASEAN on trade goods and services, investment, financial capital flow, immigration, and other trade-related matters, it remains uncertain how much political will exist to conclude negotiations, particularly given that China would be the most powerful party to the agreement, or to ward off the domestic interests that have so far undermined genuine realization of the goals of the AEC. Education and trend. Discovered that China is pushing ahead of some Southeast Asian countries in education. The OECD report on international educational assessment based on standardized testing in mathematics, reading, and science through the PISA program for international student assessment. The database shows PISA assessment for OECD country and OECD partner country in Asia. In terms of mean assessment, China ranks ahead of Indonesia Thailand and Malaysia in North Field, ahead of Vietnam in mathematics and reading, and ahead of South Korea in mathematics and science. Education and its trend. Expansion of higher education and R&D capabilities go hand in hand. Evident from the recent past indicate a strong commitment in China to domestic R&D, although the United States is the global leader in total R&D, can spend more on commercially applicable product and process development than any other country. Moreover, average annual real growth in total R&D expenditure by China at 11% vastly exceed the growth rate in the United States, Japan, and Germany. R&D in China, Wei Zi and Zhang assure that the prospect for rapid advance by China in innovation and labor productivity growth depend in part on government policy reform that allows a greater share of R&D to be conducted by private firms compared to state-owned enterprises, along with continued commitment to protection of intellectual property rights of Chinese firms and education of the population. Capital flow between China and Southeast Asia. Flow of foreign direct investment have also interconnected China and Southeast Asia and have largely been complementary to trade under the Go Out policy initiated by China around the start of the new millennium. State and private sector invested upstream around the globe to secure natural resources and to recycle China current account surpluses. With the passage of time, more and more investment have been made downstream in international supply chain, and the government has coordinated outward cargo flow to develop infrastructure in other developing countries. In particular, the Rubik Belt and Roads Initiative. Bài dịch chủ từ slideបន្តទៀតណា Capital flow between China and Southeast Asia. In total, Southeast Asia provided 3.9% of the utilized foreign direct investment in China in 2017, was 6.0% in 2010 and 5.5% in 2003. The vast majority had come through Singapore, which to some extent is a candidate for cargo from the rest of the region. Both inflow and outflow of foreign direct investment remain heavily regulated in China. Indeed, the line blur between private and official investment, since some private companies have been nationalized, while most take direction from the state or Communist Party. And outward FDI has been undertaken by state enterprises as well. Bài dịch chủ từ slideបន្តទៀតគឺបាទ Capital flow between China and Southeast Asia. Trade agreement or the trade balance deteriorated. A meeting with the Minister of Trade of Indonesia and the Minister of Commerce of China led to the promises of Chinese infrastructure investment in Indonesia, among other measures. The ASEAN Development Bank estimated in 2017 that developing Asia would need more than 26 trillion US dollars for infrastructure development between 2016 and 2030, mostly in electrical power and transport, and including costs of climate mitigation and adaptation, so additional sources of finance for infrastructure clearly are needed. The announcement of the Belt and Road Initiative by Xi Jinping in 2013 thus responded to a genuine need. Capital flow between China and Southeast Asia. The paper has provided an introduction to Association of Southeast Asian Nations ASEAN Economic Community AEC, The previous point described the economy of the member nation as well as a brief overview of the geography and history. The AEC organization itself was described and the rising influence of China discussed. The region of Southeast Asia is divided between the maritime nation of the Philippines, Indonesia, Brunei, Singapore and Malaysia, and the mainland nation of Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos and Vietnam. With the obvious exception of Singapore and somewhat Brunei, the country are further subdivided into lowland and highland, with logistic and cultural implication. បាទចឹងគឺសម្រាប់ពេលនេះបាទស្លាយយើងមានប៉ុណ្ណេះហើយយើងនឹងជួបគ្នាបាទនៅម៉ោង live ផ្ទាល់ដែលយើងមានសំណួរនិងចម្លើយដែលយើងអាចសួរគ្នាបាទទៅវិញទៅមកពាក់ព័ន្ធនឹងចំណុចផ្សេងៗរបស់និស្សិតបាទគ្រូនឹងធ្វើការបកស្រាយជូនបាទផងដែរបាទសូមអរគុណសូមជម្រាបលា